Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Brotherman here. Wow, no. Hey, what's up, Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm back with another video, and in today's video, you guessed it, I'm going to try to install an Evertune bridge by myself. I've had experience working on guitars, installing bridges and stuff, but I've never installed one of these, and I have very little router experience. I have a hand router that you'll see later. But I wanted to try this out on my Ibanez RG series guitar because I was curious if I could do this myself, because the installation fee is very expensive from Evertune, and I honestly just really like doing this stuff myself and learning along the way. So if you're interested in trying this and curious if you can do it yourself, then follow along, watch me. Obviously, watch me first and then figure out if you want to, this is something you want to tackle. This is not an instructional video. This is just simply a guy who's trying to see if he can do this himself. Because, yeah, I really want an Evertune in my guitar. So we're going to try this out, see how it goes, and go from there. Enjoy the video. I've had this one for a really long time. The only thing I've ever really done to it was these pickups right here. And then I also put short studs in here for the bridge. Yeah, I don't play it that much, but I want to, so I want to do an upgrade on this guitar that's going to make it worth playing and picking up often. So I thought that would be an Evertune, and I'm going to try it out. So, since I didn't feel right about where I left the other scratch body that I was using, I wanted to at least try these 4 holes again to see if they line up with the template. Now, since I have a drill press, I got this off of Facebook Marketplace. But yeah, so the holes definitely turned out a lot better, and they matched up. So I feel pretty good about this, and I think I'm ready. Okay, here's one last look at the guitar before I put an Evertune in it. So the backside here has some kind of copper paint, and then took out the burls, or string furls, I mean. And here it is, the 2 cavities, untreated with any kind of copper tape or anything like that. And then it has this little nick in it right here, which I think is interesting. So, yeah, here I go. I'm going to do this. I thought this was also interesting, a little bit different from the Ibanez that I previously routed on. It's got this little slotting in here, so I guess it's to fit the bridge. No, I don't know why that's there. But anyway, yeah, here it is. One last look before it gets an Evertune put in it. Okay, so here's my best at trying to treat this like a client's guitar, and also a guitar that I don't want to mess up, because like I've mentioned a few times now, this is one of my favorite guitars because it's one of my oldest that I've kept, and I plan on keeping it. So I hope I don't mess it up, but I'm going to go through filming the process of how I set this templating process up. This is probably, I think after I did the other video where I routed it a little crooked, this is probably the most important part, along with drilling those 4 holes. So this is really important. So I just don't want to mess it up. So yeah. $12 3/4 from the nut, from the bottom of the nut here, there, 12 6/8, which is boils down to 3/4. So Okay, so this is how I did mine here. I'm going to remove this ruler and then mark that line. But whenever I did it the other way freehand, you're just kind of looking straight down. And I just felt like that wasn't as accurate as this, so I'm going to run off of this line here. So I wanted to kind of show you, I did my best to measure this. I started at 1 because I don't want to start from the end of the ruler. Just because I feel like it paranoids me. It doesn't feel accurate, but yeah, so I started 1 and it ended up being 2 1/4. So half of that is 1 1/8. So that's why I went from that first tick down, got that center split, and I did the same thing here to get this dot, and now I'm just going to connect them, and we should be good to go. Yeah, there you go. And there it is, my center line. So I'm going to go to get the templates, put it on here, and then I'm going to go drill it out. Okay, so just showing this next part here, I made sure to shine a light straight down from my perspective, from a straight down perspective, to make sure that I was truly in line with the lines I made there. I'm really trying my best to get this right. And then I taped it down, so that took a second. Now I'm going to put this on and then drill the holes. Okay, so even after all that, I still have to drill this one hole, so here goes nothing. Okay. No way! This took off part of my clear coat. What the heck, dude? It shows you how old of a guitar this is. Alright, final reveal. Hole 1 looks pretty darn good. Hole 2 also looks good. Hole 3 and 4. Ooh. Hole 3 is not bad. And hole 4 is great. Wow. I was most scared about these because the other side you route out, but these are like, yeah. So, yeah, it looks like so far we're pretty good. Like that. Funny. That's disintegrated now. Okay. Yeah. Looks good. Okay, and now I'm going to chamfer these holes. Mistake here, because these dumb cheap calipers, they were actually zeroed like 0.20 off. So I was trying to get that last little bit, and as I was measuring it out, it's like 1.12. So I overcut this cavity. Golly, I hope this doesn't bite me in the butt. I will say one thing that's kind of a win is I did get to take out the center block, which I don't need it in this guitar, but I was more curious if I was fixing to trim. I know like on some Gibson stuff, the really fancy luthiers that install Evertunes have like pieces of the wood that cover the holes for like the Gibson Les Paul style Evertune installation. So I was seeing if this way would work, and it seemed like it did. It was a lot of work for sure, but it worked. So yeah, definitely gonna keep this. Kind of cool. Here's a close-up of the back. As you can see, the punch out was kind of bad. I probably should have tried to tape this or something. I don't know. The only thing is you just don't know exactly where they're coming out unless you do the measurements. But that's so risky. But punching out, I just got that one. This one's not bad, and that one's not bad because they'll all get routed. Honestly, the best was the screwdriver, the hand tool. So, but anyway. So I must have really bad luck with this or something. because this is really annoying. This one looks okay, but that one, come on, man. So now I just got to determine which is the actual center line. It looks like it might not be this one. So let me figure that out. And here I am in the same conundrum as last time. This hole's just a little off. And this one is... honestly, that one's quite on. And these two are the ones that are running it. Now, on the drill press, I couldn't get this hole, the one that is off. So maybe that's it. Maybe this template is crooked, but either way, kind of frustrating, honestly. So, yeah, let's find out. Let me figure out some measurements. Go from there. Okay, so I think I know why I'm getting this mistake. And it's because the taper from the neck going out like this, you know, whenever I'm measuring it, I run the measuring stick flush with the fretboard and the neck, and then whenever it comes out, you know, it tapers out like that. I mean, obviously not that drastic, but I'm just showing you for the camera's sake. But yeah, I think that's what's messing me up. Because measuring these, I think that's what did it. So, kind of upset that that's the way of measuring this. Lastly, before I drill these holes, I want to mention that I'm going into the F ones here. I measured it out. I think in the other video I said the T holes, and that's why I drilled, but that was actually wrong. I should have done all F. Thankfully that was a scratch, but I took the back plate that came with the kit and measured it, and it ran into the F holes. So that's what I got to do, which kind of stinks for right here, but I'll address it when I get there. Okay, after I drilled the holes, I made sure to chamfer each one. That one kind of stinks, but it looks like the plate will cover it up, so, you know, whatever. So I thought I would show this, and it's embarrassing, but just bear with me. This is why I'm doing this video. It's to show the DIY part of it. It's just my experience with routing isn't the best. So the stuff on the right, you can see is not, that's going to be routed out, so that's fine. And this is like paper thin right now. This cavity is going to be hollow, but this right here was too deep, and I've just been having a tough time getting the measurements right with this router. I don't know if it's moving on me or something, but anyway, whenever I was pulling it up, seeing that this was too deep, I forgot to turn it off before I pulled it up, and so as I did, I just gouged right up here and just got the template. But it's okay. It's not a huge spot, and I can work with it. And I just routed into it. I was like, whatever. But yeah, that kind of stunk. But next is going to be routing this little pocket. Okay, I'm all done with the route. It's looking good. So yeah, I kind of wanted to get this body out into the sun too, because it just looks so cool. Yeah, I'm gonna test fit the Evertune next. Okay, so test fitting the Evertune. I've marked my holes here, and you can see I've come into the same issue where it's just up against there. Now, it could be because the Evertune is not completely set in here, because whenever it's straight, it's like just got the smallest amount of clearance, but there's more clearance up here. But either way, I'm still going to Dremel this out, sand it down just a little bit to be safe, and then get going. Okay, so after working on this for a while, I really shaped out a lot here. It looks like I'm good, so we're just going to keep going with this and see how well it goes. Okay, so now since I've strung it up with the strings here, I started with the high E string first, just because when I did it the first time, I started with the low E string, and that I think pushed the whole thing and got it to go to that divot. For some reason, this Evertune wants to go that way. I don't know if it's a defect or not. I will contact Evertune about that. Yeah, so I have it strung up, and it's honestly very center right now. If I didn't make any of those changes, it would be very, very fine. So, yeah, maybe that was just my problem, was stringing it the wrong way, but yeah, it looks good. So I'm going to get this thing tuned up, and I'll kind of explain it real fast. So you have the tuning holes, which are, you have a key that comes with this, and you have the tuning holes here, so that tunes the string right or left, adjusting the tension at the headstock as needed. And then you have here are the action holes, so you can set the action of each string if you want it higher or lower. And then you have intonation for each string as well. So, yeah, altogether, that's pretty much what it is in a nutshell. But yeah, let me get this strung up and see if I got it working. I've got it installed. I've been playing it for a while, and I kind of just want to give my final thoughts on what I think of this Evertune. And just the installation. This isn't a full review by any means. I'm also, this is just my opinions, this is my own interactions with it and my experience with it. But just a little bit of a pros and cons, and then some observations. I'll start with this. Overall, I really do like it, and I don't regret doing this. I really am happy that I did this to my guitar. It's a very, very cool mod that makes this guitar very fun to pick up and play now, and I tend to play it a lot. So with that, I'll go through the pros first and then the cons. The pros are it holds tuning really, really well. I bet you, let's see. Yeah, that's pretty darn sweet. I haven't tuned this in a few days now. And this is like a great system for if you're practicing on a guitar and you find yourself tuning a lot, and you're looking to get rid of that just to have more time to practice. This is great for that. If you're recording, obviously this is great. I tune whenever, on the days I'm recording, I tune once a day, maybe. I just check my tuning at the beginning of every recording session and then like halfway throughout. But that's just mostly because I'm learning this and making sure it's in tune. But yeah, so that's a pro of this, is definitely staying in tune for a really long time, and it's really precise. When tuning, I have the little tuning key that you put in to this part right here, this little keyhole. So that's how you tune. The bad thing is it does take a little while to tune, but it just like takes forever. You're like twisting this and it's going up slowly, slowly, slowly. But it's nice because you do get very fine tuning control. So a little bit of an annoyance if you're trying to go from like standard tuning to drop tuning, but it is great for having fine tuning detail and control. Another pro, which sounds like it could be a con, but although this is technically slightly crooked, it still works great. The fact that I didn't 100% nail the install and it still works incredibly well is pretty nice, honestly. I was afraid that if I didn't get it perfect, because it looks like rocket science putting this thing together, then I thought it wouldn't work. But it does work, and I'm very satisfied and happy with that. The other thing is, I honestly really love this antique black color. It goes well with my other hardware, um, and I was just thankful that I had they had that option, and that I didn't have to get like a black one or a silver one or change any of the hardware on my guitar. I could actually just go with that antique black, and it blends right in, especially from a distance. And then another pro, which is just kind of a pro of the process, is I learned a lot doing this. Routing out the guitar, getting measurements, learning how to find the scale length of your actual guitar was honestly really cool. So I really enjoyed that part of it. And then, yeah, just installing this, setting it up, uh, learning this process was really cool. And I would like to do some more, but I don't know if I'd want to do them for other people yet, unless it was like a friend that knew my experience level. Okay, so for the cons, my biggest one was it was hard to find and make sure that the center line was correct, especially like how whenever I measured from the neck, it continued to go like this. Obviously, I'm being dramatic there, but um, so that was kind of nerve wracking trying to find this center line, and then also the uh, drilling the holes and not getting them right was a huge con for this, where I felt like that was my biggest problem. It's like mostly due to I think that I use paper, like they said in the installation video, when I should have just used like some painter's tape on the front of the guitar, or like some guitar safe tape, because that painter's tape did actually take off some of the finish. Um, but tape all the way down, so that way whenever I mark my measurements, they stay as I'm drilling holes in and out with the template, because the paper, whenever I pulled the drill bit out, it pulled the paper, and I think that moved it off a little bit, even though the paper was taped down and everything. So I think just running the measurements directly on the body would have been better. That's my biggest con, honestly, but that's an install problem that's on my end. So really just an experience issue there, not really with the product. This is something that I don't know if this is the Evertune itself, or potentially an issue with this Evertune specifically, or with all of them, but it had weird wobble. Like if I was holding this without strings, the springing mechanism would just kind of fall to the bottom, but it wouldn't fall the other way if I reversed gravity. It wouldn't go the other way with no strings on. It would only go down. So I don't know if there's something missing that needed to hold it up, but it's obviously working now, so I don't really care, honestly. And with strings holding the tension, it's fine. I wish that, with that being said, if that's the issue with all Evertunes and not just this one, then I wish that they would tell you to install the strings high E to low E, just so that way, because whenever I did that, that's what counteracted the system and kept it from pushing down on the bottom of the guitar that I routed out. And so, yeah, I wish that they would mention that, but again, it could be my own fault. Another con was, honestly, this is not a cheap system. It cost more than the guitar to put this in, but I did it for sentimental reasons. This is a sentimental guitar. Obviously, I would not put this in this cheap of a guitar, because there's been other issues I've seen with this guitar since doing that. Like for instance, I think the scale length is not perfect, so I couldn't grab 100% intonation here. But with it being compensated for tuning in this Evertune, it does make up for the intonation issue, so it's really not a huge deal. But I couldn't get 100% intonation when using these, so I think this needed to move back a tiny bit, just a tiny bit. But yeah, it's a very expensive mechanism, so it's not really for beginners. That's like, oh yeah, here's this so you can get in tune and keep your guitar in tune as you're practicing and learning guitar. It's like, that's pretty darn expensive, and it's hard to find guitars with Evertunes for under $1,000. I mean, you can obviously find them used, but new, no way. And then it's not easy to retrofit into a guitar. You have to take it to a certified installer, or you have to try it yourself with buying a $125 template, while also having things like a hand router, drills and other hand tools. So it's not really a cheap option to do yourself. It's a silly con, but it is a con in my mind. It's like whenever I saw this on a few people's guitars, I was like, sweet, how much is that system? Oh my gosh, it's $300. That's crazy. And then um, comparing that to like Floyd Rose's, like a brand new Floyd Rose is, also super expensive, like $250, $300. So um, it's not that much compared to those systems, but honestly, it is a chunk of change. So it's a commitment. And then the other part was the plate on the back here. So um, I think it looks fine. Like, it was weird that it covers this one here, but um, after pulling this plate off, you can unscrew it, pull it off, and put it back in. I found no problem sliding it up under the Evertune's plate that I had to put in there. I was hoping it would stick out a little less, the Evertune plate that I had to put on to cover the spring mechanism back here, but it really isn't that big of a problem. And I don't rub up against it whenever I'm playing on my lap or standing up, and so it's really not a hindrance to me at all. I thought it was going to be a problem, but it's not. So it's not really a con, but it's still sticks out further. I was hoping that I could get this flush into the guitar body and not have it stick out at all. And then my last con I have is I know that it holds tuning really well whenever I set it up. It doesn't hold tuning well when I am moving these tuners to get it to the next zone. So obviously it starts in zone 3 when you first install it. Then you pull it up to zone 2 and you have to feel it out and look at your tuner to make sure you're in zone 2 because the note stops moving. It just stays roughly in that spot. But if I'm moving this and I'm kind of like used to the whole like dook 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 like spinning this tuner fast, then it doesn't feel like the Evertune's working. You see the notes kind of bounce up and down, and then it doesn't stabilize at the pitch that you think it's going to stabilize at. So even with an in tune, whenever I set it all up, if I want to get these strings to the point to bend them, and the Evertune lets me bend, you have to like bring it up to zone 3 and then pull it slightly back to zone 2 to have that ability to bend but keep it in tune. And whenever I do that, I can't just take it up with the tuner, which is what they say you can do, and then let it bend. Um, I have to bring it up to pitch, and then bring it down to back to zone 2 to the bending zone, and then I have to go refine tune it here to make sure that it's working. So that's like a little bit of a bummer. In the videos I saw by other guys, I saw them, say like, "Oh yeah, just bring it right up, and then you're good to go." And it hasn't been the case for me. It could be an experience issue, but it's something worth noting for anyone else considering this for their guitar. Okay, and I forgot to mention this part, but the high E string does rattle. I'll play some clips here for you. But it does rattle whenever I hit the high E string, no matter what note I'm playing. I don't know if that's an installation issue or an issue with the product, but I'll probably be actually contacting Evertune about this one, so see if they can help me fix it. But just thought I'd mention it too. So this last part is just going to be observations about my guitar and just the whole process. Definitely doing this on a cheap guitar is something that not everyone should do or consider. I did it obviously for sentimental reasons. I really like the way this guitar looks and I just wanted to have it feeling nice. But through that, I do have some fret buzz that I thought was the old bridge, but now installing this system, it's not the nut, it's not the new bridge. It is for sure fret buzz. I went and checked all the frets to make sure they were level. And I probably, when I had the guitar stripped down, I probably should have leveled all the frets and crowned them, recrowned them, and everything. When I did that, I just didn't because I was wanting to get this video out and excited to get to play it. So something to note is that I did have that, and that was my problem. But it kind of shows the value of this $250 guitar. The other thing is whenever I was putting in Evertune and whenever I was tuning it up with the headstock tuners here, you set actual tuning here, but you bring it through the zones, and the zones are just the amount of tension it has before the mechanism inside engages and starts holding tune at a consistent note. So whenever I'm bringing it up from zone 3 all the way to zone 2, which is where they want you to have it, it was a little bit tough to find that spot. It's really just a feeling thing. You don't feel any click, or it's just you're looking at your tuner, you're kind of checking your notes, and you kind of just got to go slower than you think here. But then it feels like forever because you're just like, when does it engage? I don't know. I'm new to this, so that was just interesting to get the hang of at first. But now, kind of understanding the feel for it, I'm very comfortable with it and understand it a lot more. That is all I have for this video here. So if you like this video, make sure to leave a like. Consider subscribing, all that good stuff, or don't. I don't care. But yeah, this was really fun. I hope to do other fun projects with this guitar in the future. I've had some thoughts going around in my head, so hopefully I get to release those soon. And yeah, thanks again for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.